Hey everybody, it's me again. My name is Dee, also known as Stella D, also known as stelladeecoder, and this is another episode of 30 Days of Code, HackerRank, Python. So, since it's day 2, we are going to do day 2, which is operators. Even though this already says solved, I solved it 6 months ago in Java, and today we're going to do it in Python instead. So let's try that out. All right. Hope everyone's having a good day today. If you're watching live, let me know. And if you want to throw out some answers or help, you can do that as well. So, anywho, let's see what our task is for today. So it looks like the task for this program is, let's make it a little larger too, so we can see. There we go. So the task is, given the meal price, which is the base cost of a meal, the tip percent, and the tax for a meal, find and print the meal's total cost. So basically what this is asking us is that if you went somewhere like a restaurant, I don't know, fast food, DoorDash, whomever, and you were paying for the meal, let's say it cost $15, and you wanted to know by adding the tip and also the tax, like how much would you pay for the meal in full. So we're going to create a program which will do that for us. It's all we'll have to do is enter in 3 different amounts and it'll calculate it for us. So we just have to program it. And let's see what we have here. So an example would be if the meal costs $12 and you decided to do a 20% tip and the tax was 8%. They want us to be able to get the output of $15 for this. And let's see what else we have here. So this is given. Basically, like I said, the meal cost is $12. Tip percent is 20% and the tax percent is 8%. These are the calculations that you would do in order to find this information or the total, which would be the total cost. And it looks like they're also wanting us to round the total cost to the nearest dollar, which that's their business, but that's weird to me. Because as you can see, by putting in these numbers, it costs $15.36. However, we're rounding it to $15. I don't know. That's what they want to do, so let's do with it. Anyway, by looking at this code that's already here, a lot of the packages have already been imported, which is math, random, and different things up here. This says complete the solved function below. So this right here is what's called our function. It's called the solve function. So it's like our program, which is called solve. And you see the meal cost, the tip percent, and the tax percent, which is our parameters. So what we're going to do is enter in information inside of the function so that we can plug in any number that we want in order for this program to work. So based off of the information that we have here, they already have our calculations pretty much laid out. So we just have to plug it into the program. So the first one is the tip, which is going to be our variable called tip. And tip equals, it says 12 times 20 over 100, which equals 2.4. So basically it's saying a tip of 20% on a $12 meal is going to be $2.40. So instead of us plugging in the numbers, instead of putting the 12 times 20 divided by 100, we're actually going to replace these with the meal cost, the tip percent, and the tax. Well, the meal cost, the 10% and divided by 100, because these can be any numbers and we want to be able to plug in any number at any time. So your meal can be $15, your meal can be $20. So for that, we are going to do the meal cost. So that's the variable meal cost, which is that. And we're doing the tip, so this is going to be the tip percent variable. And we're going to divide it by 100. I put this in parentheses for like order of operation math purposes, so it's not multiplying the meal cost plus the 10% tip percent and then dividing the whole thing by 100. So that's why it's in parentheses. Next, we need to do the tax. And the tax is also the meal cost times the tax percent. And we're dividing that by 100 too. So here, when they did that, they had a tax of 8%, which would be 0.96 cents or something like that. All right, so the next thing that it's telling us to do is that it wants us to calculate the total cost. So I'm going to make a total cost variable, and it equals, and it wants you to add it all together. So we're going to add the meal costs, if I can spell, plus the tip, plus the tax. And then it wants us to print the total cost. Now, there's one thing that I'm missing that it did mention. This is this round total because it wants us to round to the nearest dollar, which I still think it's weird, but that's what it's asking us to do. So we need to do that. Now, instead of doing, basically what I'm going to do is put all of this together and just use the round function, or the round method, which we use the round method in day one as well. So we're going to use it again here. So let's see if we have everything. We have the tip, which is pretty much the meal cost times the tip percentage. And then the tax, which is the meal cost times the tax percentage. And the total cost is all of these added together and rounded to the nearest dollar. Usually with the round method, you have the number and then you have the digits of how you're going to round it to. Since I left it blank, it just defaults to rounding it to the whole number. But if you wanted to keep the 2 digits after the decimal, then you would put in a 2. And we can try that later just to see what it looks like. But anywho, I think we have everything in here. Let's run it and see if, okay. So basically, the input was 12, 20, and 8, like they said, and the expected output is 15, and we got 15, which means that we did it right. Yay. But let's do something a little different. And just to kind of explain a little better, the 12.0 went in here, the 20 went in here, and the 8 went in here. What I was talking about before is if we rounded it to 2 decimal spaces, and I think I jacked that up. Let's change something. Put you back. We jacked you up. Okay, let's put in the custom input. Then let's do the 2, because we're going to test this out. If anybody who's watching, do you have like any numbers? Let's move this out the way too, so you can see what I'm talking about. Well, the clicking, there we go. If you're watching now, is there any numbers that you want to plug in? Because we're going to test out our own test case here. I'm going to put in, round it to the nearest 2 decimal points instead, and then let's just put in the same numbers that they had and see if that makes a difference. Okay, so like I was saying before, by including the 2 decimal points, this will give you an actual dollar amount. So it'll give you the $15.36, kind of like what it is before. Because when you're buying food or buying anything, there's like cents on there. So again, that's weird. I think they just wanted to see like if we can round to the nearest dollar or not. So let's just plug in a number. Let's say I bought some, I don't know, something from Instacart. Actually, Instacart's, you got to spend like $35. So then I spent $35. And then the nice like person, I decided to tip them. Let's say I tipped them 15%. And the taxes was like 9.7. Let's see if we run that and see what happens. And we got an error. So it says value error, invalid literal for int with base 10. So basically what it's saying here is this 9.7, I put in a number with a decimal which is the tax percent, but I'm asking for an integer, and an integer is a whole number without decimals. So let's say I just want to switch this up so I can show. Go back in there. What'd I do? $35. I'm tipping Instacart like 15%, and the tax is 9.7 because it's coming from Whole Foods in Brentwood, okay? So now let's run the code again. So now we're entering a float, which has a decimal point. We're entering an integer, which is a whole number. And then we have another float, which is the 9.7. Run the code. Ta-da! All right, so basically, if I decided to get some groceries from Instacart and my total was $35 and I wanted to tip the delivery person 15% and the tax was 9.7%, my total is going to come out to $43.64 for my groceries. And you can pretty much play around with the different percentages and the different taxes and whatever. Let's say I didn't tip them because I don't know why I wouldn't tip them, but let's say I didn't tip them. So my total with tax, or let's say I didn't use Instacart and I actually went to the store. So by me going to the store, I'm paying for the groceries and the tax. I'm only spending $38.39 versus if I did use a delivery service and I'm tipping the driver, then I'll be spending $43.64. I like the service and it saves me from driving, so I'm probably going to pay the $43.64. So to fix all of this back to where it was, so that we can solve the problem that they asked, not the one that we want to do, I'm going to take the decimal point off, run the code again. All right, so it looks like they gave us a sample test case of the 12, 20, and 8, but then they also ran like another one just in case you use different numbers. So this would be for $15.50 with a 15%. What is this? Tip and a 10% tax. So far, looks like everything is okay. Again, this is the function. This is pretty much the input. So this is where the number goes. If we were actually running like a Python like shell or program, you would actually see where you can enter in the numbers, so it would make more sense. But since this is HackerRank and we're just testing out or solving this problem, this is how it looks. This down here is the function that we created. So you're calling the function, you're saying if you put in the meal cost, the tip percent, the tax percent, this is what you're going to get. So if you have any questions, concerns, or comments, please comment below or let me know, and I will answer your questions. Or if you want to try like different numbers or whatnot, we can do that too. Let's go ahead and submit this code. Yay! I guess it ran different tests, which hidden. Yeah, I'm not doing that. Anywho, So that's day 2 for 30 days of code. I'm going to try to do this every day so that I can complete this 30-day Python program, because I haven't done it all in Python. I only did a little bit of it in Java, but just talking through it and working it out live, it's been fun so far. So I'll see you guys tomorrow. I don't have a particular time that I'm doing this yet, but I will pop up. You can watch day 1 on my YouTube channel, or if you're on Facebook or any other social media outlet that I have, it's pretty much posted anywhere, but definitely like, comment, and subscribe on YouTube, and you can see the whole playlist then. Other than that, I will see you guys tomorrow. Be stellar. Toodaloo.